The Young Lions of Tarshish, New Zealand. New Zealand can truly be referred to as the ends of the earth. The Wikipedia article on New Zealand says the following: the islands of New Zealand were the last large habitable land to be settled by humans. Between about 1280 and 1350, Polynesians began to settle in the islands and then developed a distinctive Maori culture. In 1642, the Dutch explorer Abel Tasman became the first European to sight and record New Zealand. Our interest in New Zealand as a young lion nation begins in 1769 when British explorer James Cook mapped almost the entire coastline. New Zealand became known to the world, and gradually missionary activity started. In the early 19th century, a Maori chief named Chief Ruatara met an Anglican priest named the Reverend Samuel Marsden in Sydney, Australia. Ruatara was impressed with the way Marsden was preaching from the Bible, and so he invited him to come to his tribe in Oihi Bay, Rangihoua, New Zealand. On Christmas Day 1814, Marsden preached the first Christian sermon on New Zealand soil. He preached on Luke chapter 2, verse 10. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all the people. The Maoris didn't understand the sermon, but they asked Ruatara for the meaning. He replied that in its time its fruit would come. Marsden stayed for a few months and then returned to Sydney. Ruatara died a few days after he left. However, the seed of the gospel had been planted. It took a while to grow in Maori culture because of the language barrier. For the gospel to spread, the Maoris needed the Bible in their own language. An Anglican missionary named Thomas Kendall began working on the Maori language. Kendall learned Te Reo Maori, the Maori language, while in New Zealand, and wrote the primer A Koreo no New Zealand, or the New Zealander's First Book, in 1815. This was the first book written in Maori. In the 1820s, Henry and William Williams arrived in New Zealand. Henry Williams, as leader of the Anglican Church Missionary Society, coordinated the various missionary translation efforts that were taking place and published the first scriptures in Maori in 1827. This was a collection of portions of scripture, and it proved very popular. A printing press was imported from London, and eventually the New Testament was printed in the Maori language. Once the Maori had the scriptures, they began to spread the gospel among themselves. In the space of 30 years from Marsden's first sermon, the gospel had spread throughout the whole of New Zealand. European settlers arrived, and the country developed fast throughout the 19th century. In 1907, at the request of the New Zealand Parliament, King Edward VII proclaimed New Zealand a dominion within the British Empire, reflecting its self-governing status. As a young lion nation, New Zealand followed a similar path to Australia and kept its links with Britain. It immediately joined with Britain in both World Wars. In World War II, New Zealand had the highest per capita casualty rate of any country in the Commonwealth. New Zealand troops were used as an elite fighting unit and earned a great reputation. German commander Erwin Rommel, talking about his North African campaign, was even quoted as saying, "If I had to take hell, I would use the Australians to take it, and the New Zealanders to hold it. If I'd had one division of Maori, I would have taken a canal in a week. If I'd had three, I'd have taken Baghdad." New Zealand is a small country that has achieved great things. It often tops the charts in such things as best place to live and best country in the world. Like all the young lion nations, it is a place where people want to live. It is known for its great natural beauty and everything about New Zealand is attractive to people around the world. Its destiny is to bring tidings of great joy to people around the world, which was the theme of Marsden's first sermon. If the USA represents God's power, Canada his dominion, Australia his benefits, then New Zealand represents the joy and beauty of the Lord. All the young lion nations will support Israel, and like Australia, New Zealand maintains strong ties with Israel. This is the destiny of all the Commonwealth nations. They will support Israel up until the time of the rapture. If the Lord allows it, I will make a video about the sheep and goat judgment of the nations in Matthew chapter 25. This is a judgment of nations, and one aspect of it will be how the nations have treated Christ's brethren, the Jews. Thank you for listening. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.